Hey everyone, it's Yusuf for Video Game Plot Summaries, and this is the plot of Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, or Re-Reckoning, whatever. I have already done the review, so let's hop over that. And this game covers one main story and 4 sub-stories. I plan on covering all 5 of these. First, let's get to the intro. So Amalur has 4 races: the Fae, an elf-like group of immortals, humans, actual elves, and dwarves. The races all have different skin colors and are from different lands. Am I going through all the names of the lands? Nope. Anyway, a Fae dude named Gadflow usurped the throne in his region by creating an army of cult followers named the Tuatha.
But Gadflow, the new king of the Winter Court, surprised us all. Singular among his people, he was all that other Fae were not. Aggressive, ambitious, visionary. He had power like none we had ever seen. Terrible and deadly.
They believed a new god was to be born in the east, and they built an Amethyst fortress over the believed birthplace. Gadflow's followers were also Fae and thus immortal, so you can imagine the other kingdoms, with soldiers that don't come back, eventually ran out of men after 10 years of war. You were in the army and then you got killed. Oops. Later, the Undertakers are chronicling the dead before they put them all in a big pile and burn them to dust. They get to the main character, I named her Luana. They take the record, and then they dump her on the pile. There is one problem, though. Luana comes back from the dead, and she wakes up in a pile of decomposing bodies. I would have puked all over the place. If it smells as gross as it looks, I would have wished I stayed dead. Anyway, Luana frees herself and makes her way through the stinky cavern.
You! Up there! Please help me! Please!
She finds a guy named Ansel, who is about to be killed by Tuatha soldiers. Luana kills them with some rusty knife she found, and Ansel thanks her. But when he looks at her, he rejoices because they used the Well of Souls to give her soul back and didn't know if it would take.
Wait. I've seen you before. On the slab. You were dead. It worked. By the tome, it worked. You're alive.
Of course, he doesn't know how or where she died. He rushes her off to Professor Hughes. They have to hurry because the Tuatha are creeping in on the lower levels of the cave. This Well of Souls must be pretty important. They get to the Well of Souls to see that the Tuatha is planning on destroying it. It makes sense. The one advantage that Tuatha has is immortality. If the humans figured out how to come back to life, then it's a whole new ball game. Probably one that never ends. Eventually, Luana makes it to Femoris Hughes. He's the main scientist who is in charge of the Well of Souls. Luana is priority number 1 because the Tuatha are just going to destroy the well, and she's the only one who came back from the dead anyway. Just then, Incel busts in the door.
I'm not certain what's caused it, but somehow... yes, as I was saying, I'm not sure what... Perhaps I should go see.
Sir! Mr. Hughes! The Tuatha have breached the lab! They're inside the lab!
No! We've got to get you out of here now! Quickly!
Should have closed the door.
Follow the path to the town of Gorha. Find Agath. He's a friend, and he may be able to help. No matter what else, stay alive! Go!
So Luana fights her way out of the cave to find Agarth looking at his world's version of tarot cards. He's a fate weaver. She talks to him and finds out that Agarth read Hughes' fate.
Poor old Femoris Hughes. He respected the way the world works. What a shame. He's probably dead by now. The cards told me that the Well of Souls would work, or Hughes' success would come on the day of his death. He took it pretty well, honestly, although we did a lot of drinking after that.
They get attacked by the Tuatha, and Luana fate shifts a guy. Look at Agarth's face. Yeah! He's like, what the hell are you doing?
The threads of fate. I've seen them before, but I've never seen anyone manipulate them like that. You just changed how the world was supposed to work. How did you do that? Hughes may have brought you back to life, but that was still part of fate's plan. Nothing short of a god can do what you did.
So Agarth reads Luana's fate and can't find anything, and that makes her one of a kind. Agarth needs a second opinion, so he tells Luana to find him at a dude named Arden's hut. Once Luana gets there, she finds Arden's body with a lady kneeled over it. The lady tells Luana that the Tuatha she was following killed him. She didn't know why until Luana showed up. Luana doesn't know this woman, even though the game tells us her name immediately. Even though Luana just met this lady, she seems to really know who Luana is.
Don't you remember me? I'm hurt. No time for introductions now. The Tuatha are still on the move.
The woman has to leave because she's still following the Tuatha, hot on the trail. Just as she smoke bombs her way out of there, Agarth shows up. These fate weavers are weird. They can't see the future, but they have an idea of the future. So Agarth shows up and he's like, what the hell? Now that Arden is dead, it falls to Agarth to take Luana to Dalach. Alright, let me throw in a brief tangent here. I don't remember everybody's name or how they're all pronounced. I wrote them down in the script, and I'm going to do my best to say them. I'm totally going to butcher half of these names. The game is so long that it's really hard to do my due diligence here. I just want to release a video for you guys to watch, so please, I'm purposefully not going over all of these places that we need to be, because I don't think it matters that much, and if it does matter, I'll say the name, but I'm totally gonna butcher it because I don't know. It's really hard to keep up with all this stuff. It's a long story. So Dalak is the ancient home of the Fate Weavers. And close to the end of the quest, Agarth sees the monster that is supposed to kill him.
I've seen this. This moment. I'm sorry, my friend. This is as far as I can take you.
That explains why he tried to take Luana to see Arden and have Arden take Luana to Dalak. Agarth was trying to dodge his fate. Well, Luana kills Agarth's supposed killer, and it really messes Agarth up.
Well fought. I'm still alive. He was supposed to... Do you have any idea what you've done? What sort of power you're playing with? I know you don't have a written fate. But it's more than that. You're stealing the power of their fates. You're changing the fates of everyone around them. Because of you, there are deeds he won't do. Children of his that won't be born. Victims that won't die when they were supposed to. You are much more dangerous than I thought. We need to get you to the Theater of Fate right away.
Well, so much for fate. Agarth takes Luana to the Theater of Fate so that she can use the Destiny Stone to find out what her fate actually is. Luana touches the stone.
The Destiny Stone came apart at your touch. And all around you, the tapestry of fate, unweaving itself. And there at the core was the Codex of Destiny. The wisdom that the Fae used to help the first Fate Weavers understand the nature of the weave.
So with the Codex of Destiny in hand, Agarth explains that what happened wasn't normal. That means that she controls her fate and the fate of everyone around her. She is really dangerous. Just then...
And that means I owe you... Wait, what's that?
Purge the abomination! In the name of Godflaw!
What up, homegirl? I guess we found that group the lady was following.
I'm beginning to think that these Tuatha don't like you. Now why do you think that might be? After all, someone who can change the fate of the world, who wouldn't want you?
The lady, Alin Shear, tells Luana that only the Fae can read the Codex. So now Luana has to go to the House of Ballads to try and convince some snobby immortals to tell her about her fate. Alin leaves right away. Garth says something racist.
We can't trust her. Never met a Darkolfar who'd give me a straight answer, even with a sword at their throat.
Agarth suggests they go on the offensive and track down where the Tuatha who were following her came from. Upon meeting up with Agarth at a bar, he has already tracked the Tuatha to a cave, and he has a plan.
They're using something big to track you. They call it the Eyes of Tirnoch. Smash it, and they won't be following you anymore.
So Agarth's plan is just that Luana walks in the front door and kills everybody and smashes their scrying mirror. And then he goes in the back and kills people who are running away. Great plan. Luana goes in and pretty much kills everybody. Once she breaks the scrying mirror, she is confronted by Gadflow, the Fae King himself.
The undying mortal has grown tired of running, has she? Decided to fight back? You children of dust do not know your place. You come into our land. You come to face your hunters. And you don't know when to die. You shall learn. In time, all mortals will know the might of Gadflow, blessed herald of the merciful Tirnoch.
King Gadflow bitches about people who are mortal not recognizing a superior race and blah 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 racist stuff. And then he leaves. Agarth comes waltzing in like he just got there and wasn't hiding around the corner while Gadflow was talking to me.
But it looks like you've got the personal attention of their king, Gadflow.
He's all like, take Alin up on her offer and go to the House of Ballads. That's my white guy voice, sorry. My normal white guy voice is just my normal voice, actually. This is people used to talk smack about it in school. I used to get teased as a black person that I sounded too white, but then white people would tease my voice as well. So if you're black, this is my white guy voice. If you're white, then this is just a weird voice. And I gotta do a white guy voice so that white people know this is my white guy voice. Does that make sense? Okay, let's keep going. Anyway, he's like, take Alin up on her offer to go to the House of Ballads. Okay, I got it. So, Luana finds Alin at the House of Ballads, and she introduces him to Glynal. Glynal, Glianal, Glyanal, okay? Glyanal. He looks at the codex, but when it tells him that there's a void in fate, and Luana tells him that she has no fate, he refuses to accept it and sends her away. He doesn't want to be the one to report this to the king.
But this codex speaks of impossible things, changes to fate, death of the immortals, and other heresies. To ascribe these lies to the High King would be... I'm sorry, but I must ask you to take it away. I will have no part in these lies.
Alin tells Luana that Glyanal is an idiot and that only the High King can take the codex seriously. But he's in the city of Issa, and they don't let humans in. Luana will have to speak to the Niralim first to get permission. Just head towards the giant tree. So Niralim is omniscient. So he tells, or she, tells Luana that the work she has been doing is changing everyone's fate. Even Gadflow is a teeny tiny bit more good. Anyway, he doesn't really say anything. He just gives her permission to enter the city.
Go and stand at the heart of the She. There you will find Issa. And perhaps you will find wisdom as well.
So off she goes to Issa. Luana goes to the Garden of Issa and puts the codex on the pedestals.
Conceived in chaos, birthed in stolen magic, torn from fate, child of two fathers, treacheries in treacheries, winter is broken. The puppet king upon his throne, drinking flattery and lies. The power that grows in him is not his own. In the east it did begin, as it will end. From behind the veil she screams. Madness and rage. Madness and rage.
That's a hell of a vision.
The Tuatha are Fae who have become something new, and you are a mortal who is free from fate's weave. Gadflow claims that the Tuatha are the work of his new god. If the Tuatha are the creations of a god, what does that make you?
See, this storyline is crazy because a lot of us don't believe in fate. So they have to make this world like, in a world where fate and magic is real. And every one of these fae are immortal. So they have lived so long that their fate is written in stories. And they just play these stories out mindlessly. So having no fate barely affects the humans in this world, but the fae go on and on about it. So Luana basically is a god to them because whatever decision she makes is not predetermined. That's pretty crazy when you think about it, because none of us know our fate. We can't accurately tell if what happens to us has been predetermined by a higher power or if it's just a collection of coincidences. One thing that would be interesting in this story would be if one of these fae ever walked up to a human and just told them what they were supposed to be and do. I wonder how it would affect the story. Sorry about that tangent too. Anyway. The High King Tatarion proceeds to use his wisdom to tell Luana crap she already knows. You must gather people to help you on your quest, blah blah blah. You talk about fate. It's fated that you get these speeches. Immediately, Luana turns around and looks at Agarth, and he's like, I know just the person to help. How about that gnome that brought you back to life?
Old Fulmerus Hughes, of course. If anybody can help, it's bound to be the gnome who brought you back to life. I've been asking around, and I was able to make contact with his superior. He thinks he might be able to help find Hughes. All gnome scholars have a Templar who sponsors their research, and apparently Hughes' sponsor, Templar Octien, is desperate to find him. Go southwest to the Hollowlands and Detir. Octien will be waiting there to discuss how you might reach Hughes.
Alin Shear is there too. She agrees with everyone, but she has a plan to gain an army.
In the plains of Erethel, there waits a player who has been away from this game for far too long. It is time to contact General Telera. Meet me in the village of Emer, and I will tell you everything.
So Luana heads to the desert and finds Templar Octine's racist ass.
You are my contact. I should have known. Punctuality is not one of your people's strengths, and you have so few.
Octine says he wants all Hughes' inventions and literature because he paid for the research. He's a sponsor after all.
It would seem the incident in Alistar made Scholar Hughes a touch paranoid. Every time we receive a clue about his location, he vanishes before I can reach him. But he's running out of places to hide. Hughes has an old laboratory in the cavern of Saltwell Mines. I believe he's been conducting research there since the destruction of Alistar Tower.
Now, Hughes is protected in the mines by a bunch of failed experiments called the Sons of Laz. Luana fights through them and talks to Hughes for a second, telling him that she's going to save him. But then all of a sudden, assassins show up.
Wait, do you hear that? Someone is coming.
It's a ninja! Alright. Hughes is confused because Octine hasn't been answering Hughes' calls, not the other way around.
Octien, of course. When all the facts are considered, the truth will emerge. I am a fool! Octien has sent you to search for me, to have us killed together. Those assassins are proof of this. The Well of Souls is his project. Once it was functioning, he no longer needed me. Not if he could salvage the well in Alistar with Ventrinio's help.
A dude named Ventrinio worked alongside Hughes, but with a lot less morality. Apparently, Ventrinio knows something about Alabastra, which is where Gadflow is residing.
But Ventrinio's old notes suggest that he may know a way into Alabastra. I wonder, perhaps, is it possible that you have met Ventrinio already? That would explain it. You were attuned to his well, but raised from mine. Unfortunately, the only way to find Ventrinio is to go through Templar Octien, which will not be easy now that we know of his treachery. There is one who has the power to discredit him. Templar Joriel. She is reputed for her wisdom and strength of character.
So the plan is to find Templar Joriel to get Octane arrested so Luana can have access to the info so we can find Ventrinio and ask him where Luana came from. In Edessa, Joriel brushed her off without real proof, specifically a confession.
For you to accuse Octien without having a direct confession is not only meaningless, but contrary to all our procedures. Even if this were true, or even already suspected, it would have to be corroborated by Octien himself. That requires a confession.
Luana finds Octane, who is very confrontational.
You're alive. What an unexpected and quite unfortunate turn of events. The White Palm are hardly thugs. Simply finding them cost me a small fortune, when I expect to be reimbursed with this failure. I'm afraid you'll find me quite hard to kill. Unfortunately, I cannot say the same for you. Attack me in this city, and I won't just have you clapped in irons. No, I'll hand you over to the scholars in the Basilica for research. I'll admit I did not see you and Hughes are lying to blackmail me. His conscience was always his biggest liability. Ventrinio will take over research on the well. He has no such weaknesses. Perhaps I'll even give him your corpse to examine. After all, you met your first death as his assistant. It would be a reunion. Of course. And it's such a pity you'll never find out.
Are you serious?
So the chase is on, and when Luana catches up to him,
All right, buddy.
Joriel sees him get thrown out of the librarium and somehow has heard the confession. I have questions, but I really don't care that much. During the fight, Hughes finds Octane's diary.
Based off of what I've read in these pages, Ventrinio has been working on an island off of Cluricon. I'm afraid the Dark Wood of Cluricon still hides our Tuatha enemies. But this young lady, Ailyn Shear, says she has a solution for that. When you reach Ventrinio, beware. He is certainly a genius, but complicated. He may try killing you the second time for good measure. His mind may be dangerous, but it holds the secret to entering Alabastra, and you must find it.
So with that done, Luana heads to Emer to talk to Aline. All right, that does it for part one of this whole thing. It's gonna be a big one, so get settled in. It'll take a lot. Probably take a month to get this stuff out. But anyway, so far the story, and this is gonna be the template for everything, it's just basically gonna be Luana running back and forth, as with most of these action RPGs. You fight people, you run over there, you talk to a guy, he tells you to go somewhere else. You talk to another guy, they tell you to do something else. You know, everybody has a little story, they all want something. You know, it's a bunch of chases. But, you know, I guess it's moving along fast enough, so I'm not too upset. It moves along really slow when you're playing the game. But when you're actually doing the plot summary and reading them, man, you're moving along really quick. It doesn't seem that big, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.